Okay, in this video I'm going to be attacking bulbs of percussion and thick spots. Okay, and show you how I deal with those. Now, when I first started, I used to have a lot of trouble with that sort of thing, so I can sympathize uh, with the people who are asking me to do this. I had one request in particular very recently. I've had requests before, and I usually direct people to a video called Napping Gnarly Nodules that I did some years back. But I think it's time I do another one similar to that. But this time it's only going to be direct percussion. The easiest way to get rid of bulbs of percussion and big thick spots and the related turtlebacks, okay, it's a related problem, is with direct percussion. Okay, the easiest that I found. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be using the steel again. Okay, so most of this stuff I'm going to be doing, I got a bunch of it down here. Most of this stuff is going to be heat treated. If you have tough rock, again, you're going to have problems. And a lot of guys learn on tough stone, or they try to learn on tough stone. And what happens is, tough stone is not, it's not bad, right? You can learn on it. The problem is you're going to increase your learning time by a factor of 4, I think. It takes you 4 times longer to learn how to nap on tough stone, I'm just guessing, than it does on good stone. All right? You can learn to nap on better stone much quicker. Okay, but if tough stone is all you have, definitely direct percussion is going to be the best. And something hard like copper or steel. If you're using hammer stones and insist on using abo techniques, again, you're going to increase your learning curve. Abo with the hammer stone on bulbs of percussion on tough stone is going to take you maybe 3 times as long. Not quite as long as, really, really difficult stone, almost impossible to nap, right? If you got good stone and you're using abo techniques, it's going to take about 3 times longer than if you were to use a piece of metal like copper or steel or aluminum to learn how to do this direct percussion stuff. Okay, you can even use a ball peen hammer, but it's a little bit awkward. The ball peen hammer doesn't really lend itself to the type of percussion that we do. Okay, although it can be done. In the field, you can use a ball peen hammer to spall and get rid of bulbs of percussion in the field, and then bring home what you have left. Okay, so I'll just try to do this quickly. I'll run through a bunch of these. Hopefully in 30 minutes I'll be able to show you various challenges. Okay, so this one is heat treated. I think this is Mississippi gravel or something. Yeah, I think this one is Mississippi gravel. And the bulb of percussion is here, but it's got a lot of issues. Now all I do on most of these bulbs of percussion is I attack them from the sides. Okay, just attack. Here's the bulb here. It's not very pronounced, but I attack it from this side, or I zigzag it from one side, right? Should go across that way. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'll just zigzag it. And you can save some of these flakes that come off. But it's pretty much gone. Now there's a thick spot here. Let's see. This is almost the right angle, but not quite. It's a little bit too steep. It should be a little bit more inward at the top here to be better. And a lot of times the braiding does help. at this stage, but it's not necessary. It's not mandatory. And I am kind of swinging the bopper. I could hold it like this also, but when I hold it in close like this, it's usually when I'm trying to be more accurate and the piece is already thin. But this allows a lot more velocity and more force. So it's okay at this stage. It's less likely to break in half, although it does break in half at this stage in a lot of cases. So that's why I don't tend to hit directly on the tip. I come in from the sides. I can hit on the tip if it's not too thick. I can be pretty safe on hitting the tip. If it, you know, if the tip is not too thick. Because if the platform is really substantial, you could just crack the whole thing. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much workable. Okay, so let's see. Next one here. This one is Chert from Texas. The bulb of percussion. It's probably, I don't know. I don't know where it is on this one. Let's see. But I'm just gonna attack this thick area here. Okay. I just look for opportunistic areas. This is a good angle on the platform, so I'll hit this one here. So it's kind of a matter of getting used to it, right? Getting used to doing this kind of thing. If you have a lot of stone, it speeds up your learning process. Obviously, you could do this all day and eventually learn to where you can strategically hit to get a good detachment that's efficient, so that you don't have to do too many strikes to get your biface. A workable biface. Now, a lot of times bulb percussions look like this, where one end is really thick and then it thins out. So, like I said, I just attack the sides. I come in from the sides. And flip it over. There's some cortex in here. I don't need that. It's thin enough I can hit the tip and it'll detach pretty easily. I got the fumble fingers tonight. Okay, so that's pretty much a workable biface, or it's not quite a biface, but you get the idea. Okay. This one here, bulb of percussion is there. In this case, there's no real good spot to attack it from the side, so I'm just going to zigzag it starting from here. Got to make sure I get a good area to hit. Sometimes it's not cooperative. Could hit that downward. Might need to take just one more. Oops. I want a good area to hit. Looks like it's Not quite optimal, but it's close. Let's see if I can get a little strike right in here, right in there. Yeah, so I hit right in that little cup area. Okay flake. I think it did overshoot a little bit. Not perfect, but it's on its way. I can hit it from the other side, I think. A little bit, I don't know, maybe it's not too bad. I thought that might have been a little bit too much. It is kind of wavy. I would rather it not have that dip in there. I'm trying to hit right there. Close enough. And this is heat treat, so you can see there's going to be sometimes there's defects in the stone right under the cortex, right under this stuff here. So I'm going to come in again from the side. Oops. A little bit too much force there. Cracked it in half. You are going to lose some like this because it's a very aggressive technique, but I can still use those little chunks for small points. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this one here. Now you could have, let's see, I could have used the indirect percussion on something this small, but I wanted to show you using a very forceful direct percussion, because that's what you'll be doing mostly when attacking this kind of problem. So this is the bulb of percussion here. I guess when I was spalling, it hit right there. And it looks like I gave myself plenty of room, because sometimes under this cortex, especially with this type of chert, it's translucent stuff, it's very cracked. Now, will steel be very bad for this type of knapping? Like, will it create a bunch of cracks in the stone? Yes, it can, but it's about the same as a smooth, hard hammerstone. A smooth, hard hammerstone will also send in all kinds of cracks and stuff. But as long as you're careful and every hit causes a release, you're not going to get too many incipient cracks. But if you're hitting and hitting and hitting and nothing is coming off, it's not releasing, you are going to be sending in lots of cracks, especially with steel or a smooth, hard hammerstone. You will get a lot of incipient cracks, and then when you finally do get a good strike, you'll have a lot of chatter and a bunch of weird looking cracks, and you may ruin part of your stone, if you keep hitting and hitting without results. Again, it's best to use a better quality stone so that doesn't happen as often. I may be able to use some of these little pieces coming off, but probably not. This one's got a crack in it. Let's see, this has got cracks in it. But I'll just zigzag this thick area. I might be able to use this one. This seems like a good platform here to strike. I'm just afraid to snap the whole thing. It might be okay. This is just at almost the perfect angle. I need to get a protractor or some measuring device or one of those adjustable angles so I can get it when I say it's a good angle, I want to actually measure it. This looks like it's probably about 60 degrees. I don't think that's a 45. Although it's, I don't know, maybe 50, I don't know. I would say 60. Okay, that went pretty good. I wanted to go a little bit higher on the platform, but that's fine. Trying to come in from the sides now to try to get rid of this bulb. It's very pronounced in here. I might lose everything past it, you know what I'm saying? I might lose this whole area, but it looks like it's okay on top here. So if I can just skim it off, like a strike from the side, if I can skim off that bulb, should be okay. I'm getting a call, so I'll pause it here. Okay, I'm back. Oh yeah, I was going to remove this here. Okay, so usable piece. This one's a little bit on the thin side, but it still has a bulb of percussion that can be difficult. I'm going to take off some of this lighter stuff on the other side, on the opposite side, so it doesn't break off. Well, so it doesn't break off excessively. If you hit this side when you got a lot hanging out on the other side, you risk losing half of it. Okay, so now I can be pretty confident in hitting the sides here. You don't need much force. Okay, usable piece. This one here, here's the bulb of percussion right there. Make sure you don't have an excess amount on the opposite side. You don't want too much hanging out on the other side. I'll be able to hit this in a little bit. I'll hit this side first. We'll see. I wish I still had that piece. Let's see. If it didn't have a hole in it, I couldn't have found it that easy. Alright, so that pretty much eliminated the bulb of percussion right there. Just one hit to the side, popped it right off. Nice, interesting hole there. Maybe. Might not be a good idea to include that, because there looks like there might be some other stuff going on around it, like cracks or whatever. Let's try this little bit there. This is all various heat treat. I don't know where this came from. It's not, I don't think it's Texas stuff. It might be. Yeah, I should be hitting that with indirect percussion, so I'll just leave it. Okay, usable. This one here. Some of these pieces are pretty old and they've been sitting out in the lawn for a while, so they might have some patina on them. This is where I hit to remove the flake or spall in this case. Nice colors, but there's issues with it, so I'm not worried about losing a lot of this side. So yeah, I'm going to remove the bulb by hitting here and here, but I'm going to take off some material so I don't have the cortex on this side when I hit. There might be some internal issues, so I might not be able to use this piece, but I'll just work with it right now anyway. So that pretty much removed the bulb right there. It doesn't look like a good quality piece, so I'll just leave it. I think I can use most of it, but I'm probably going to have to remove all this stuff in here and just use this half here, or we'll see. But that's for another video. This is the bulb here. I'm going to attack this before I attack the bulb. Okay. It is heat treated, but it's a little tougher than the other heat treat I just had. So I'm going to attack. I could attack it right here. I could hit there and then go in that way. But that angle is too steep. It's almost a 90 right there. So I'll take some off the side. That's a little bit too lumpy. It's good to have a nice flat area. So that pretty much removed the bulb there, right? But I got all this mass down here left. I want to see if I can do a couple strikes to remove that. That's kind of like a turtleback. Okay, usable piece. This one here, there's a bulb in here. To thin this one down, I can hit that, maybe remove a good bit of mass before I attack the bulb. Yeah, I meant to hit higher. There we go. And now attack the bulb. Let's see. Prepare for a side hit. Yeah, I didn't take enough off for a good strike to get rid of that bulb. So I took a second flake. Now I got a good spot where I can try to smash through there and get that bulb. Okay. All right, this one here, another, you can barely see it right there, that bulb of percussion. This was the strike here. So again, come in from the side. Take another flake. Well, let's see. Take another strike there. That cortex is pretty hard. I should be able to remove a flake. Sometimes when the cortex is soft, it's too cushiony and it won't remove the flake, but I think it's pretty good. Looks okay. Might have some issues with cracking in the stone, or cracks in the stone. I can't tell if that's from the bopper or from, well, it probably is. It's a brittle stone. See if I can clear that out of there. A little bit too aggressive. Let's see. Yikes. Some of these heat-treated stones are very unpredictable. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to get some good strikes unless I take a lot of material off. So I'll just try to zigzag this side and come in from this angle. too many issues with this one. A little bit too delicate for what I was doing. Might have had some internal issues as well, but I can still use these. They're just not, they're not shaped like bifaces. Okay, this one here, here's the bulb. Yeah, right here is where I hit. That angle is not perfect, but it's okay. This angle right there, I can hit there and remove the bulb. There's some cracks that hadn't gone all the way. This is where antler would probably work a little bit better. You don't get as many of that issue there with a softer bopper or a softer hammerstone. Yeah, I think I'm getting a crack going in the wrong way there, because the platform was a little too steep, and when that happens, it's really, it's how do I say this? It's kind of dicey. The crack doesn't want to always go down that way. It'll want to go in this way as well. The flatter it is, like hitting directly on a pane of glass, you know how it fractures, right? Some of it is a conchoidal or a conchoidal fracture, and some of them are radial fractures. The more steep it is, the more it imitates a bullet strike or a BB strike on a piece of glass, right? You're going to get both radial and conchoidal fractures. Now, when the angle is less steep, the path of the fracture is more likely to take the path of least resistance down instead of devoting some energy to going in this way. You get all kinds of things happening with this one. Yeah, some of this stone is, tough, and some of it's not. Okay. I still see that issue in there. I don't know, I could probably still use this piece, but it may end up being pretty small. I try to get that area. But with direct percussion, I just can't get the accuracy. This might be an internal issue. This little area in here, see that flat spot in there? It was breaking kind of funny. But that also could have been from the bopper. Anyway, I can still use it. This one here, this is the bulb. Now, this one's kind of a weird piece. They usually tend to discard the thinner areas and just use the thick area. So I can use this for a little arrowhead and then try to shape this one into a biface. Again, if I can reduce the amount hanging around on the other side, that'd be best. I don't think I've cracked one in the middle yet. Well, maybe one of them. If you make the opposite side lighter, it increases the odds of staying together. Okay, when you're hitting on this bulb. So I'm going to make a platform so I can attack it from the side. Looks like some incipient cracks there. Okay, let's try it again. One more. Okay. All right, so that's usable. All right, let's see. There's the bulb right here. I think I actually spalled this with aluminum. It looks like an aluminum billet hit or a bopper. Aluminum bopper. I'm going to hit it from the sides here to get rid of, or I'm going to turn the edge and hit it this way. Oops. A little bit too much on the opposite side, but that took off the bulb. Yeah. So I hit it there, took off the bulb, but it also took off the other side. Oh well. And that's snapped through the thickest area too, so you can't be too careful. I probably should have gone over here and taken off a lot of this thin area there, and that probably would have stayed together. But I can use this and I can use that. And the bulb's pretty much gone on that side. Now maybe some of you guys were wanting a little bit more detail, because let's see, I don't know if you consider that a bulb removal. Is that enough? You can leave the comment in the section below, I think that's enough as far as removal of the bulb, just one good flake across. This one here. Oops. Let's see. The steel is really harsh, so let's see if I can find a piece of antler for this one last piece. This is a elk antler. Okay, let's see what we can do with the antler. Probably a lot less abusive. And this angle is really, really steep, but I think the antler is going to be less abusive than the steel. Yes, because if I hit that with steel, it would do that same thing where it would try to do a radial crack and a conchoidal fracture. Nice. Okay. And this is a heat-treated chert that's similar to, it's a Texas chert. I think it's similar to Burlington as far as consistency. It feels a lot like heat-treated Burlington. Now when you hit the end with a piece of antler, it's going to grip a lot, so it grips a lot more. I can feel it pull a lot more than the steel. It's barely noticeable, but it's there. So I can still break it in half, even though it's more delicate on these edges. Is there a way to support? Yeah, you can, but you've got to get the feel for it, because sometimes too much support will cause it to break as well. I was just testing the edge there. See, this is kind of like an overshot type of edge, right? It wraps. So it's hard. I was hitting right here to see if I could release a flake, but see how it's rounded. You need something a lot harder to initiate a crack on this rounded surface. All right. So this is what it looks like when you overshoot. And it's hard to, unless you're using a pressure flaker, it's still going to be hard with a pressure flaker to work that edge. Down here is not so bad, but right here it's going to be difficult. So you'll have to zigzag, hit that way, hit that way, hit that way, all across the edge to get it to where you can take opportunistic flakes off of various platforms. Okay. Yeah, just better idea to zigzag that one. I can see pieces of antler floating around. Let's see. There we go. You can kind of feel or hear the, it's tough yet brittle. I don't know how to explain it. It's very hard, I should say, but very brittle. Okay. But it's not like obsidian. It's not flexible. It's stiff. Obsidian or glass has a little bit of flexibility to it. This is very stiff. Okay, so I don't need to mess with that too much more. I can eliminate this one with indirect percussion, or with even with pressure if I had a large Ishi stick. So this is good enough. Okay.